We've been in a competitive mood in mornings today, and once again the ACT passes with flying colours in competition. Where at? The National Pharmacy Student Awards. The ACT, via Ben Coghlan, a UC student, has taken out the 2018 National Pharmacy Student of the Year Award, and it's quite a pressure-filled environment. When you go to your pharmacist and you take and fill a script, do you put thought into just how much pressure there is for the pharmacist to deliver the right dose for the right number of repeats so that you are fit and healthy? It is a crucial element of our day-to-day lives. Ben Coghlan is one who aspires to that very profession, and he's, as I mentioned, got the next step with flying colours. Ben, congratulations. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much,
And
Adam.
you do look like a very level-headed young lad who doesn't fold under pressure, which I'm sure impressed the judges.
Yeah.
Just so I know, having never sat in this sort of environment, was it quite a pressure final situation where you felt that you really wanted to deliver?
It was. So we practice over and over at uni and that sort of thing, but it still doesn't quite prepare you for going actually into the room. And there's quite a few eyes on you. I think we were discussing earlier, there's about 120 people in the room. But
That's a very packed doctor's surgery or pharmacist.
but your focus is the patient. So we're all about patient-centred care and getting that through. And I sort of zoned them out. So it was quite good.
Did you make an effort to zone everyone in the room out, or did that come naturally because you were focusing exactly on the patient?
I think it came quite naturally. So I just sort of zoned them out. There was a few minutes of sort of chatting with the crowd and trying to lighten the mood for myself more than anyone else. But yeah, I sort of zoned them out quite quickly after having a chat with the patient.
We'll talk to what you had to do and why you did it so well in a moment. But alongside you are Associate Professor Mark Norton, who is Head of Pharmacy at the University of Canberra, and Caroline Khalil, who is Pharmaceutical Society of Australia ACT Branch Director. Mark, Caroline, welcome to both of you.
Good morning.
Thanks, Adam.
How fulfilling, Mark, that you see your student do this sort of thing on a national stage with flying colours?
Well, it's a really proud moment for the team, myself and the team at the University of Canberra, to see someone like Ben do really well at a national competition.
And, it might be naive of me to suggest that I didn't realise there was such high honours to be gained in pharmacy education. How important is this sort of competition to giving people the motivation to do really well?
I think it's really important for others in the program to see students perform well. I know our students keep a close eye on how Ben was doing. There was a lot of discussions afterwards, and I'm sure there'll be a lot more discussions next week when Ben's back in class.
Yeah, and maybe lining up to defend his championship next year, or for another ACT student to fill that mantle.
No, I might take him on next year.
What is it in Star Wars? Now I am the master. But I'm sure you work perfectly in unison. Carolyn, you were there as well.
Yes.
Tell us about the enjoyment as well as the importance of this.
Oh, look, we were just so proud as a branch of the PSA, which is the peak professional body for pharmacists. So we were all there cheering and supporting Ben to do really well. We knew that he would. He was calm, he was competent, he was collected. And to take out both awards, the Judges Award as well as the People Choice Award, was really very good. That doesn't happen that often. So he took both of them out and it was very clear.
What are the standards that students like Ben need to meet to win these sorts of awards? What are they having to fulfil to be judged at such a high level?
Well, look, it is a stiff competition from around Australia. It's a counselling competition primarily. So they're there with the patient. We do have very high standards of judging. The judges are looking for a range of things in that situation. It's timed as well, so it's not like it can go on and on and on. So it is under a pressure situation because in a pharmacy environment, you don't have all day either. No. So it's a very similar thing in terms of timing and pressure.
Ben Coghlan, put us in the room. How did this roll out? How did you get the scenario and what did you have to do in that limited amount of time Carolyn talks about?
So like Carolyn was saying, it's done as like we're walking into the pharmacy or like the patients walk into the pharmacy every day. So they try and mimic it as closely as they can. So we walk in or the patient walks in and we need to get the information from them, such as what they're presenting with their symptoms, any medications or medical conditions, and then from then we make a clinical judgment about what to do, whether we need to refer or something like that.
And are there a group of judges, 5 metres from you, 10 metres from you, scribbling away, taking notes on everything you say as well as your manner, your style, your empathy nearly to a patient too.
Yeah, there was. So I think there were about 5 judges, Mark.
Yeah, I think at least 4 judges.
And so they're the ones who hand out the national winner. But then the entire room is filled with pharmacists pretty much.
Wow.
So they're all sort of...
Scouts of sorts, looking to recruit
Judging you.
someone like you as well.
So they're all sort of looking at you and sort of going, oh, okay, they did this well, they might have, you know, I might have missed this and been able to do that better. But so, yeah, it's quite hard.
So you mentioned before you lightened the mood a little bit somewhat just to relax you. How did you do it and how important was that in hindsight?
Well, that credit's got to go to the MC who was there, John Bell, who's part of the PSA.
Righto.
And yes, essentially just a bit of banter for a couple of minutes beforehand, mainly about Canberra and politics, really.
I was wondering what pharmacists joke about when they're all in a room together.
There's a lot more, but yeah.
Probably can't say right now.
No. So there was that, and just sort of lightening the mood, and but just sort of going in and trying to relax myself beforehand was the main sort of thing that helped for me.
So
and John's been doing it for years and years and years, hosting the competition, and he's very good with easing nerves and calming the students
That is
prior
important.
to getting into the scenario and starting it.
In hindsight, Ben, did you enjoy it?
I did.
In spite of, or maybe because of the pressure and the involvement of all the different pharmacists watching you?
No, I did enjoy it. I was lucky enough to get a case that I was able to get to the bottom of quite quickly, and I was relatively familiar with. But yeah, so overall, I did really enjoy the experience of training with the university, and especially quaying at the university, and just gaining that extra knowledge and solidifying that knowledge.
Mark, what value broadly for the university? I mean, Ben obviously is now a figurehead for the immediate future to show that you can produce the best of the best, but broadly for the uni and its reputation in this sort of field.
I think it's a great honour to win this sort of prize, and particularly over the last few years, or 2 years in particular, the university, our discipline, has put a lot of effort into redesigning the curriculum in the final 2 years, in particular the final year, and it's nice to see that those efforts that all staff have put in the discipline bear fruit with something like Ben winning this prize. And look, there were a number of other students that we could have easily sent up, and that for me is pleasing, that it wasn't an easy choice to send just Ben. There's plenty of other students behind him that could have been there.
Mark Naunton is the Associate Professor and Head of Pharmacy of Discipline at the Uni of Canberra. Alongside Mark is Ben Coghlan, UC student, winner of the 2018 National Pharmacy Student of the Year. No mean feat. And Caroline Khalil is with us too, Pharmaceutical Society of Australia, ACT Branch Director. Caroline, one of your other roles is as a course a supervisor, or at least a convener on the board for the course at UC. How important is that industry and academic union to try and make things as relevant as possible in this sort of degree?
It's actually really important, and so I sit on the course advisory group alongside a number of other stakeholders within Canberra, and we really, really value our partnership with UC, with the pharmacy discipline. We've had a long-running relationship, and it's that close linkage that we get with the students, the new students coming through, and supporting the students all through their degrees. They do an undergrad as well as a master's program at the university, and it's part of our role and my role to ensure that we're there for support to those pharmacists. We very much believe that your career starts as soon as you enter pharmacy. Just to get accepted to do the degree is a huge deal, and I always say to the students, I'm really proud of you. Welcome to pharmacy, because you've done excellent in actually getting selected to do the course.
Because it's quite a high-level degree, does it bring its own pressure, hence the requirement to get support, a bit of empathy from those who are already there, who have already done the work?
Yes, and I think, it's like a child. It takes a village, doesn't it? And I firmly believe that. And we're like that in pharmacy. It takes a village. And we're there as the peak professional body, supporting right through the career, from when you start right through to when you retire and beyond. So it really does require a team effort, and we believe strongly in that. Hence why I'm often on campus at least a couple of times a week.
Yeah, checking with how the students are holding up. Ben, so after this, the afterglow is still there, I presume. Does it matter to you to be the champion, to be the 2018 National Pharmacy Student of the Year?
Look, it's still a bit surreal overall. I wasn't really expecting the accolade going in, and it still hasn't quite sunk in yet. But it is a big deal for me, and a big deal for the university as well. But I've sort of got to look forward now, and look, it's a big year coming up for me. I've got to finish the last 6 months of my degree, and then 1 year internship, which will be hard, but I'm very much looking forward to it.
It's an interesting point, because you still have a ways to go to secure that longer term job, but is it hard to not get a bit excited about what you've just done?
It is, yeah. So I guess I'll sort of be put back into a place with Mark
So you
next
get back
week.
into class.
Yep.
Next Wednesday, I think, Ben.
Yeah, that'll be it.
You'll be the first one checked off the roll, and your absence will be noted if you're
Probably.
not there. Does it mean that you have a clearer idea of what you want to do in pharmacy as a result of this?
Yes and no. I've always had the idea of going into hospital pharmacy initially after I graduate, but I'm currently working in community pharmacy, and I really enjoy the community pharmacy. So I would probably later on like to get back in towards community pharmacy.
But why so? What is it you like about that side?
It's just the patient interaction. You get to know your patients very well, and they trust you quite a lot. So in hospital, sometimes you can feel like it's a bit of a merry-go-round, or you just keep going through patients and patients and patients. Whereas in community, you see the same people more frequently.
A connection is built.
And
a relationship is developed.
Exactly. Building that relationship is great. And even working for the past 2 and a bit years in community pharmacy, building relationships with all the people that come in is really important.
They are important people in our society. You will be doing that healthcare work in due course, Ben Coghlan. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
On what is a big national honour, and well done for getting all the way. Associate Professor Mark Naunton, I can see that you are proud, but we'll be keeping a check on Ben through the coming months. Thanks for dropping by.
Thanks, Adam.
And Carolyn Khalil for your perspective and the enjoyment for the ACT this brings, and the excitement too.
Thanks, Adam.
Good to see you.